Pigweed here. Today we review a winter ale and discuss the history of smoking. Well,
Hey, good evening, Pigweed. How about some beer and conversation?
That's an excellent idea. What do we have here? We have a winter ale from Sam Adams. They always have something new, and I'm just wondering what's on your mind. Are you smoking in Ben Franklin Studios?
Well, I've got to think about my health. I mean, I would be smoking a Camel because most doctors smoke Camel.
Well, yes, I have seen the advertisement.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in that case, I'll join you.
All right, okay.
All right.
Well, so there we go. Yeah, it's well established that most doctors, 4 out of 5 dentists, chew sugarless gum, and most doctors smoke Camels. I mean,
All right. Well, I'm feeling healthier.
There we go.
By the minute.
That's right. We're getting much better. So what is this beer?
This is a new beer by Sam Adams. It's called a Winter White Ale.
Okay.
And
all right. So what's on your mind?
What's on my mind?
Yeah. I guess smoking is on our mind.
Totally. I just want to know.
Where did
Whose
this idea come from?
Whose idea was this?
Who came up with this crazy idea of taking this weed and inhaling it into your body?
Yeah, I was like, speaking of Camel cigarettes.
Yeah.
On there, it says a blend of domestic and Turkish tobaccos.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, all right, that makes sense. You see the pictures of these guys in hookahs. Probably came from Turkey or the Middle East or somewhere, and that's how it got here. And then we discussed the Colombian exchange. And no, the tobacco came from
originally South America.
From the Americas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, are you telling me nobody was smoking before 1500?
That's not quite it, but okay, yeah. So let's get into that. But first, let's drink this beer. What do we got?
Yeah, it's a white winter ale, so it's going to be it's going to have some holiday flavors. So it says citrusy and spicy. I'm not sure if I'm getting the hop citrus as much as I am some winter spices.
I'm definitely getting a little bit of citrusy flavor there, and the aroma, touch of citrus in the aroma. But I guess the idea here is, most of the time when you think of winter ales, you think of dark, and they want to make a winter ale that's a lighter beer because this one is pretty light.
With a little kicker, but not a lot. What would it say here? 5.7, 5.8?
5.7. Yeah, that's respectable. I guess it's the spiciness that makes it a winter holiday sort of a thing.
All right.
What do you think? I like it. I mean, Sam Adams.
Nice.
I've never been disappointed with a Sam Adams.
I mean, and I like that they're always innovating. This is a new beer. I haven't seen this, but this is new this year.
Right.
Very nice.
Yeah. Well done. Keep it up. You can continue to send them where you've been sending them. Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll drink them.
So, yes.
I didn't pack this quite right. Keep pouring out on me.
Columbus gets here, and when you meet foreign people, everybody tries to play nice, and they do a little gift exchange, a little Christmas gift exchange, and they give Columbus a bunch of tobacco.
Right.
And he's like,
what do I do with this?
What do I do with this? Although he does see some people, smoking, and it must have seemed a little bit odd.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because, since the beginning of time, since we mastered fire, whenever you're standing around the fire, seems like the smoke follows you around,
which you don't like.
And you don't like.
Yeah.
You're like the one thing I don't want to do is breathe in the smoke from the fire.
Right, especially if there's poison ivy on the fire.
So you're. So nobody is.
Well, that's what I thought. Nobody was smoking until we found tobacco. Turns out that's not quite right.
Well, it is and it isn't. Smoking like we think of it, yes. No, nobody was. Nobody's sitting around with pipes. Were there things that were burnt and inhaled? Yes. In some places, in some ways. But in the way that tobacco is smoked, that is unique from the Americas.
Yeah, so apparently...
So what items do you... Like some of them, like burning things inside of a hut and you kind of ceremonially inhaling the smoke. So so in that sense, I guess you could call that smoking.
Yeah, but apparently in Europe there was just no smoking at all. Like people weren't smoking basil or whatever kind of herbs and spices they had. But in the Near East, in India, in China, in Africa, there were cannabis-like herbal concoctions that people were smoking. Now, I'm not sure they were putting them in pipes or rolling them in cigarettes or anything, but they were smoking them both for medicinal and recreational use.
But not just like hanging around. So anyway, the Spanish do take this back, and you would think that people would be horrified by the idea, and I guess some of them were, but it quickly caught on.
It did, and it's people thought, okay, this is a pleasant thing to do because tobacco gives you a little bit of a high, sort of.
Yeah, but in a sort of a Sherlock Holmes
contemplative kind of a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
A little buzz, not in a stoner kind of a way. And
I read tons of Sherlock Holmes as a kid, and I never realized that there were so many different types of tobacco until I actually started looking into it. And Sherlock Holmes would smoke Turkish tobacco, which is typically much stronger. But there are all these there's burley and there's all these different blends and types of tobacco. Some of them have more nicotine.
The right things. I don't think tobacco doesn't grow in Europe anywhere.
Right.
For some reason, it's got to be that sweet. It's got to be that sweet spot, which apparently Turkey has. Brazil. Where else? Africa. Had the right climate, This tobacco, I guess, is kind of finicky about where it grows. Here in the fine state of Maryland, there's a major
tobacco place.
So
apparently the plant originally came from South Africa. It was cultivated. South America.
Yeah.
And it was cultivated across South and North America.
Okay.
Before Columbus arrived. But as you say,
and in the islands that were first arrived, Hispaniola? Yeah. They had tobacco there.
And there were basically, as I understand it, there were two types of tobacco.
Yeah.
There was a southern tobacco that was milder, and there was a northern tobacco that was harsher. And Maryland had this particular type of tobacco that burned particularly well, and that Maryland tobacco kind of was incorporated into cigarettes because of the way it burned. So, like, Maryland tobacco became kind of world famous and necessary, which was interesting.
Is it that other people included Maryland tobacco, or 100%?
No, just they would include Maryland tobacco to regulate the way the cigarette burned. Yeah, but you could have different blends, and there's different ways. So there's different varieties of the tobacco plant, but there's also different ways that it's cured and processed to make the final product, kind of like malt, for making a beer.
And so, when we talked about in the Mayflower episode, we're like, people didn't really have the idea of coming over here just to live before the Puritans. Everybody else was sort of an enterprise. Like, how are we going? We're going to invest in these people to go over there to find something new or whatever and bring it back and make some money.
Right. They're either going after gold or they're going after pelts.
Yeah, beaver pelts, fishing in Nova Scotia or whatever, right? And then when
tobacco became the big cash crop. Yeah. And cash crop in a funny way. It was both sold for cash, but it was also used for cash. Tobacco became like a form of currency. Like you could buy things with tobacco.
I hear on my tobacco timeline, I have 1624. This is very early. Yeah. Popes ban use of tobacco in holy places, considering sneezing, the snuff, too close to sexual pleasures.
Oh, interesting.
And so 1650, tobacco arrives in Africa, where settlers grow it and use it as currency. And then we start getting African slave. Now you African slaves being used because it's a very manual, labor intensive crop. I guess like cotton.
Yeah.
And I talk about the slave, the interesting slave trade nugget that I discovered in this article.
What's that?
That the first... This is inferred. It's not really explicit. Mm-hmm. That the first Africans to come here were indentured servants, yes. just like the European yes. indentured servants.
Yeah.
And they know that they infer that by the number of free black men mm-hmm. in Virginia in the late 1600s.
Right.
It's like, well, they didn't sail there.
Yeah.
They were brought there, so they I guess they were indentured servants. Like Irish indentured servants came there with a contract.
Yeah.
African indentured servants probably didn't sign up for this, but they were given the same treatment.
Yeah.
The 7 years
early on, right?
And
yes.
then you're now you're a free black man.
Apparently, the same thing was true in a lot of the islands. You had a lot of free black men who came over as indentured servants, served their time, and then became businessmen in their own.
But if you're in the Americas, I mean, up until like the early 20th century, basically everybody's involved in agriculture.
Right?
And so back then, let's just as an indentured servant, all you've done for 7 years is farm.
Yeah.
Well, what are you going to do when you get your freedom? Well, you're going to become a farmer.
Right.
So now you're a black man competing against white farmers who have slaves, mm-hmm. and they're going, wow, I need me some slaves.
Right.
So the stories of it starts to make more sense. The stories of free black men who own slaves, like, okay, well that is how it would work.
Yes.
Right? You did your indentured servitude. Now you're a free farmer. You're looking around going, I got to get in on some of this slave action here.
Right. So yeah, blacks own slaves, Indians own slaves, and
right.
blacks in Africa own slaves. So, I mean, this whole mythology that, like, America invented slavery, that's just a bunch of nonsense. There's been slavery for all time.
Right.
And when in early America, there were white slaves and there were black slaves, and white men owned slaves and black men owned slaves.
Yes. I saw a little meme that was like, every African slave was owned by a black man before he was sold to a white man.
Yeah,
which makes sense,
right?
So, but that's a different subject.
Yeah,
but that's not the whole history of.
So tobacco. Apparently, there were a couple different varieties of tobacco. There's Nicotiana tabacum and Nicotiana rustica. One was the first one.
A Frenchman whose name sounds like nicotine, who discovered the ingredient, his name got applied
name
to
associated
that. I don't know if that's
what
you wanted to be known for, but
is that what you want? Oh, well, I mean, maybe for
at the time you were probably a hero.
So the plant was native to South America, not North America.
All right,
but came into North America with two different wild species, Nicotiana sylvestris and Nicotiana some other name. And then it was used in ceremonial stuff, like you go into a tent, and you burn a bunch of tobacco inside the tent. But it was also used in the peace pipe and, other ways that Native Americans were smoking.
Now, when you're in a dorm room late at night mm-hmm. in your sophomore year,
mm-hmm.
people justifying marijuana use would say that that's what was going on in the peace pipe. What do you think? Did the peace pipe was it early cannabis, or do you think it was just plain old tobacco?
I think it was plain old tobacco. Now, apparently, the people did smoke cannabis in China and India and some other places before they got tobacco.
So cannabis was not part of the Columbian Exchange.
I don't think so.
It was already in other parts of the world.
Yeah, it was already, and not the strong, crazy stuff that we have nowadays, but a milder version of cannabis.
I've got 1847. Philip Morris opens their first shop in Great Britain, selling hand-rolled Turkish cigarettes.
Huh.
But in 1961, it's a bit of a jump. Oh, no, 1861. This is just a flaw.
The invention of the machine.
The machine produces 20 million cigarettes.
Right. I haven't rolled a lot of cigarettes, but I've rolled a few.
Yeah.
And it's tough to do it by hand, to get the paper just right and get the right amount in there and roll it up. But if you have a machine that can roll them, that's pretty impressive.
Right. And every cigarette is exactly the same.
Right.
Because, so I think up until then, pipes and cigars dominated everything. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until...
A pipe is easier to manage than a...
Yeah, and then the cigars, well, you're getting a lot of tobacco, last year all day. And when did they start hooking women on...
I've seen some pictures of, like, Civil War era pictures of women smoking pipes. And it's just kind of jarring, because you don't usually think of a woman smoking a pipe.
But before you got the hand-rolled cigarette...
that was the thing, Yeah.
Yeah, like, were there, like, Marie Antoinette with, like, the French royalty? Like,
did they smoke? What did they smoke? I don't know. Because, Hollywood made it sexy to smoke. So the idea of women smoking a cigarette is, we're accustomed to that. But the idea of a woman smoking a pipe just, it is a little jarring. I don't know why. Something seems like
1925, Philip Morris starts marketing to women, tripling the number of female smokers in 10 years.
Right.
Of course they would.
Mm-hmm.
In 1950, 50% of a cigarette now consists of the cigarette filter tips. So, so everybody's just free smoking.
Yeah.
When is that when the filter comes along? That I don't know. Yeah. Is it like this is the healthy version of smoking? Like, this filter is going to take out all the bad stuff, and you're just left with the pleasure and the cool look.
Maybe. I mean, it could have been like, boy, smoking this cigarette is making my teeth turn color. So,
yeah. I wonder when. Hold on, let me see if I could get some. So, 1947, this chemist admits that there's enough evidence that smoking can cause cancer, and then I'm sure all of the manufacturers came in with their doctors' evidence of
how good smoking is for you. That's
good smoking is for you.
It helps with a sore throat and all that. All kinds of things.
Series of lawsuits, but I didn't see exactly when the filter came in, but. What about the K rations?
Oh, yeah. So in World War II, you just got cigarettes along with your Spam and eggs and stuff. It's like, and it became part of the culture. If you got them, smoke them. Right?
But I love, in every World War II movie, there's a guy on a stretcher. Being
ask him for a cigarette.
They didn't ask him for it. They just. Well, this is what the guy needs.
Yeah.
Like the sergeant is smoking, and here, son.
This will help.
His guts are hanging out. And
here, smoke this cigarette.
So just became.
Well, at that time, they either thought it wasn't bad or they thought it was healthy.
No, there are all kinds of reports of doctors and, these are the 25 ways in which...
Now, you know who House is?
Yeah.
There was an episode of House where this guy had some weird condition and House prescribed him to smoke 3 cigarettes a day. because it, I don't know the medical reason for it, but supposedly it did some good thing for this guy.
But that was kind of his edginess on the show, right? He was sort of counter.
Yeah. So somebody came and complained to him and said, how could you prescribe such a dangerous thing? And he said, everything I prescribe is dangerous.
Yeah. Very good.
Right. So and then tobacco, obviously. People enjoyed this stuff because it spread all over the world quickly.
All over the world.
And they came up with so many different ways to smoke it. I mean, there's pipes, of course, and cigarettes, but there's also water pipes and other things.
There's big like communal hookah things. Right. Everybody's sitting around and people adding different elements, right?
Right.
Putting clove and whatever else in there.
There's clay pipes and wood pipes and all. I mean, if you go into the internet and look up stuff about pipes, you wouldn't believe how deep it gets. Like the lore of pipes,
right?
What kind of wood is used, how long the stem is.
Snobs.
Oh yeah, it's really crazy. Like a clay pipe versus a wood pipe, and which kind of wood and everything else. And then there's those pipes they use in The Hobbit. The really really long pipes.
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah. And the point of that, having that really, really long stem, is that it cools the tobacco as it's coming. It cools the smoke as it's coming up. Yeah.
Right. So I guess a lot of that the hookah thing runs through water, right? So
I think that cools it as well.
That cools it, so that makes sense. Who do you think produces? These numbers are from 1961 to 2023, so this is a long stretch. Who is producing the most tobacco?
I would guess the United States.
We're down here at fifth.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
And China blows everybody away.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Look at the tonnage. I
Wow.
don't even know what that is. 2 million tons, and then there's a drop off down to India, Brazil, Indonesia.
Wow. The United States is way down there.
And now you've got Zimbabwe, Pakistan.
Huh.
Malawi, more Africa, and then you don't get to South America until you get to Argentina down here, about 8th place.
So this is for all of 61 to 2023, that entire period. Because I would think that U.S. production was higher, in the 50s and 60s, and then died off.
Well, it wasn't that long ago. Don't you remember them essentially buying off Maryland farmers?
Yeah.
It was. Well, I don't think there are any tobacco farms in Maryland anymore.
I don't know.
I don't think so. But they had they de-incentivized tobacco growing to the point where I don't even think we grow it anymore. How about who smokes the most?
I would guess China, since they...
No, they don't. Look at this. Wow, I don't even see China on the list here. Where's all their tobacco going? I've got Turkey.
Okay.
So you got 40% of males and 27% of females.
Yeah.
This is from 2016. Latvia, Lithuania, Greece, Korea, big smokers. You got...
I have to ask Major Crowhill about the Korean smokers.
Right. Yeah. Did she see a ton of smoking over there?
Yeah.
Where's China on this? All right, so I've got some more. Oh, here we go. Highest smoking rates.
Indonesia.
71% of males.
Wow.
Myanmar.
Yeah.
Jordan, Georgia, Solomon Islands. Interesting group of, and these people are now lingering around 50%.
Here's China, way down here. What is that? 48%.
Yep, that's 48. Now in the United States, we've had some fall off. 1965, we're at 42%.
Okay.
And then 1927, now we're at 14, 13, 14 in 2017, 2018, 2019.
Yeah, okay.
So that's a significant fall off.
There's been a revival of pipe smoking.
Yeah.
And there are people who will try to argue that, pipe smoking is either really not that bad for you, or some people will say is actually good for you, because it not in the sense that the tobacco itself is good for you, but in the sense of having a time where you calm down and sit down and read a book and smoke a pipe.
Right.
That's a good, healthy thing to do.
Right. Or now, you see like in a Western movie where you've toiled all day on the farm, and you come out. There's no TV, right? I mean, there's nothing to do. Yeah. You got like the Bible, nothing else to read, really. You just a guy's like going to sit on the porch and have himself a smoke.
Yeah, right.
Relax and unwind from the day.
Yeah, and who's going to tell him not to do that? But yeah, so I'm not a huge advocate of smoking, but I also think that some of the anti-smoking stuff can get a little hysterical at times. It's like, we get all hysterical about people smoking, but what about like drinking soda and eating candy bars and those other kinds of things? Those may be as bad or worse for you.
Diabetes.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. You should say in Mexico, all of the packs of cigarettes show either somebody's corroded lungs, like an actual body cut open with the lungs.
Wow.
A daughter crying by the casket of her father.
Wow.
Or something like that.
That's a little more intense than the Surgeon General warns.
Well, yes. So, and they tried to do that here.
Yeah.
and went to the Supreme Court and the whole thing, and it was basically came down to you cannot compel a manufacturer of something to discourage people from buying their own product. Some kind of a thing. So okay. I guess they met between the scary pictures. Yeah. This is going to kill you, and the Surgeon General's warning. Yeah. They're like, there's some cool
balance
enough.
Between them.
Right.
It's kind of like when you hear commercials for a betting app. Download this app and bet on sports and blah, blah, blah. And by the way, if you're addicted to betting, call this number.
Yes, they're sort of obligated to do that, right? But you're not obligated to then argue against your own product.
Yeah, yeah.
Like if you have a problem with this product, but not like, here's the product we want to sell you, and you'll die if you use it.
Yeah, so I think the balance is, obviously we want a healthy population, and there are some things that are better for you and some things that are worse for you, but you can't push too far. It's like, what was it Princess Leia said? The more you close your grip, the more starships will slip through your fingers. Like the more intense you get by regulating healthiness, the more people are just going to say, "Oh, forget you. We're going to do what we want."
So you have to hit a little median.
There's got to be a median line there. You can't require everybody to eat salads for dinner. It's just not going to work, But you can encourage certain kinds of healthy behavior and discourage certain kinds of unhealthy behavior, but only up to a certain point.
Can you say, if you are buying food with government benefits, it can't be all ho-hos and grape soda?
Well, I would think so.
You should be able to do that. I don't think that's going too far.
Right. Although remember during COVID, everybody had to stay home. But if you're going to the liquor store, the liquor stores could stay open.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
It was hilarious.
Like, all right, the essentials, which was all the major corporations. It's like a mom and pop store.
No, you got to close. But Walmart, you can go to Walmart.
Yeah, you can go to Walmart. So, yeah.
Because they were greasing the palms of the politicians. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So tobacco. It's an interesting phenomenon.
I just think it is a phenomenon. Just the idea that the 40% of people in Indonesia or whatever, all these people, they're yes, you came up with some obscure examples of ways that people did burn things and inhale them, but smoking as we know it
is tobacco.
Totally came from the Columbian Exchange.
Right.
And I would say thank you for the potatoes and the chocolate and a lot of other things.
Right, yes.
But I don't know if you really helped the rest of the world with the tobacco and the syphilis. Do we know that syphilis was smallpox and syphilis like an exchange?
Actually, there is some argument that the old world gave the new world, measles and all that kind of stuff. And the New World gave the Old World syphilis. That didn't exist in Europe until after the.
Yeah, well,
pay back a little bit. Not quite as much as damaging.
But, I mean, geez, the potato and the corn.
Oh, I know.
Thank you. Sugar and chocolate.
Right.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, that changed things. Thanks a lot.
Yes. No, very good.
But tobacco, I don't know if you helped us.
I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting product. Just don't go crazy on it. Cheers. Thanks so much for listening to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. Remember to visit us at pigweedandcrowhill.com or send us an email at pigweedshow@gmail.com.